I'm Harold Green. Aloha, and thank you for visiting BrightTree Financial. We're a full-service fiduciary advisory and planning firm that offers pretty much everything that you need. We create thorough, well-balanced financial plans that cover college, retirement, and everything in between. For the past 20 years, I've worked with Hawaii families to solve two of their biggest challenges: paying for college and saving for retirement. I speak with many families every day, and one thing is quite clear. They are extremely stressed out. Their biggest question is, how do they keep up with the tuition and the different financial demands placed on their lives? Living in Hawaii is very expensive, and many of our local families do struggle. They need some serious answers, so if that's you, let's take a couple minutes and talk about some of the things you can do to keep down the cost of tuition and still save for retirement. I'm going to go pretty fast, so feel free to watch this again. We have two major issues facing people in this country today. Number one, $1.5 trillion in student loan debt. Number two, only 3% of the population will retire with enough to last them throughout their retirement. There are three major things you're going to have to decide. Number one is whether or not college is right for you and your family. If you're paying private school tuition right now, you pretty much don't have a choice as to whether your students are going to go to college, or why else would you be doing it? And this is not to say parents of public school students don't care about college. In fact, many of the public school parents I work with do send their kids off to college. It's just that when I started, many of the families having the tuition issue were from the private school sector. Let me back up even further and say this. If you're a parent paying for private school and you're listening to this right now and you think things are a little tough, I can help you figure out a plan to cover the cost of tuition and still get college and retirement paid for. I know that's a bold statement, but it's what I do. I can't guarantee that for everyone, but it is true for most of the parents I work with. Now here's the kicker: if they follow the plan. When it comes to choosing a college or university, there are over 6,700 colleges out there to choose from. How do you know which one is right for you? When we take a deeper look at it, students are choosing schools based on price versus value, and I find that kind of sad. I found also when a college or university is cheap, it usually means they have very poor graduation rates. In some cases, you're better off paying a higher tuition, especially if you know your student has better odds of graduating in 4 years. The best way to figure this out is by simply using a formula I created some years ago. Write this down: career plus major equals college. It's the number one reason why people send their kids off to school. Also, I found that many families invest in college for one reason and one reason only. It's to give their students a better opportunity in life. It's well documented that students with 4-year degrees earn more, and students with 6-year degrees do even better. I'm not talking about students who take 6 years to get a 4-year degree, but graduate degrees. Number two, you must have a solid plan to pay for college. Why? Because most people don't. In fact, 73% say college is important, but they have no real plan to pay for it. Really? It's true. There are many reasons why students don't finish college on time, and finances are the number one issue. Here are some others, though: lack of plan, not enough counselors to help them chart their course, and no clear-cut direction on why they went to college in the first place. The third thing you must do is you must understand the financial aid system and how to best go about getting the most merit aid, need-based money, and the least amount of loans. It starts with pre-financial aid form planning. That's right, pre-financial aid form planning. What do I mean? It's simple. You must know how each college will view your financial situation. It could be either positive or negative. Question is, if you know there's a possibility they will view you negatively, why on earth would you still submit your information to them? You shouldn't. It's a wise idea to sit down and figure out what situation you fall into and see if there's anything that can be done to improve it. There are three positions families normally fall into. I call them categories. Category 1 families get the most financial aid because they don't have the income and assets. Category 2 families will get some money from some schools, and others will tell you, "I'm sorry, we can't help you. You have too much income or too much assets." Category 3 families are frowned upon for applying for financial aid in most cases and are considered to be rich. Really? What is their definition of rich? The truth is, many families in Hawaii will fall into either Category 2 or Category 3. Quick question: if you fall into Category 2 or 3, how are you supposed to pay for college and still effectively put away for retirement? There's only one way, and it involves getting wise. It's figuring out the tax code as it applies to paying for college and understanding what legal strategies are available to you. If you're not sure of what your situation is and you would like a fiduciary expert opinion, please don't hesitate to call me at 808-521-4401. In 2015, I authored a book titled Paying for College in the 21st Century. In it, I address pretty much some of the same issues we've talked about today. Please go buy the book and learn a little bit more. I'm sure it can help you. However, if you don't like to read, just give me a call and let's talk. Question is, if 73% of parents say college is important, but they have no real plan to pay for it, is it really all that important if they don't create a plan? People research the internet and go to seminars all the time for information on paying for college. However, that's not a substitute for creating a plan. But some people do have a plan, a 529 plan. As a matter of fact, it's the number one thing advisors recommend to people who are saving for college. Why? Because it's easy, and people normally like what's easy. You set up an automatic deduction, and boom, you're done. The problem is, a majority of 5 to 9 plans have about 1 or 2 years of the tuition saved. What's even worse is the 5 to 9 plan puts you at a disadvantage when it comes to getting financial aid. That's why it's so critical to have a real plan. Not just any plan, a step-by-step plan that's guaranteed to work every single time. When it comes to paying for college, many families say they're hoping for scholarships, they're going to use the home equity, or the kids have to stay in Hawaii, or they can't go at all. The worst one I've kind of heard is, my student's going to take out student loans. Not many students are offered a full ride that covers all the cost. In fact, it's less than 2% depending on where you look for research. As for home equity, I haven't seen too many parents that could afford to use all the equity in their homes and still save for retirement. In fact, most of the parents I met before becoming clients were in a position of having to work 7 to 10 years past retirement age due to the debt. I'm not going to address points 3 and 4, as I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're looking to send your students away to mainland colleges. As for point number 5, students can only get about $5,500 max in their own names to help cover college tuition. Most student loans are actually parent loans for the student, meaning mom and dad will co-sign and be responsible for the loans even if the student can't pay them back. Now here's a scary thought. What if you or your spouse get sick, become disabled, or even worse, pass on while you're on your way to getting your students through college? What would life look like for you and your loved ones? Have you thought about that? Have you prepared for such a scenario? For many families, college is important. So is retirement unless you're lucky and you don't have to work. The truth is you're going to have to retire at some point. The problem is, stats show only 3% of people who retire have enough to last them their entire lives. What's worse is having to lower your standard of living as a result of running out of money. Have you thought about that? Will your money last as long as you do? Many seniors are now having to resort to different types of tactics in order to make things work, such as selling their life insurance policies, going into a reverse mortgage, or even worse, moving back home with their kids, all because they didn't have a plan in place, or even worse, they couldn't afford to save for retirement, and that's sad. So what is the answer? It's very simple. I created a program called Rapid Retire. Rapid allows you to pay less for college and retire with more. It can also put a family in position to pay for college and retire 7 to 10 years sooner than they are scheduled to. How? By understanding 5 important keys. Number 1, cash flow management. Number 2, cash reserve systems. Number 3, income generation. Number 4, college financial aid navigation. And number 5, risk mitigation. If you'd like to pay less for college and retire with more, call me today for a free no-obligation consultation. Also, feel free to submit the Game Changer form at the end of this video, and I'll be in touch with you soon. Again, I'm Harold Green, and thank you for visiting BrightTree Financial. Aloha.